All right, here we go. So let's talk about multiplying with decimals, okay? All right, so here we go. So say you have the following problem. 4.3 times 2. All right, here we go. So the thing to remember, first off, with multiplying with decimals is that the multiplication works exactly the same as it would if you were doing multiplication without decimals, okay? So you will proceed with this problem as if there is no decimal point there. So let's do that. All right, 3 times 2 is 6. And then that 2 times 4 gives you 8. Now, we have to consider the decimal point at this point. Now, you have a decimal here. There's going to be a decimal in your answer. How do you determine that? Basically, this is what you do. You look at each of your numbers here and you want to look at the numbers that have decimals in them and ask yourself, how many digit spots are there after the decimal? Okay, so there's 1 here. There's 1 there, okay? Here, this one doesn't have a decimal, so there's none. So however many spaces there are after the decimal for each number, that's the number of spaces that need to be after the decimal for your answer. So in other words, here you have one space after the decimal. So that means that your decimal is going to be right here. I want to do it in black. You're going to move your decimal right here. The reason why I put that arrow there is when you move your decimal, the thing to remember with a whole number, whether it's 5 or 25 or 6,380, is that with a whole number, the decimal is there, you just don't see it. A whole number always has a decimal point there, okay? Because 5 is the same thing as 5.000000000, so on and so forth. You just don't put that there because it's just equal to 5. But there's a decimal point there. So the decimal point in your answer is always starting at the end there. And then whenever you calculate how many times do I need to move my decimal point, that's how many times you move that decimal point to the left, okay? So that 4.3 times 2 is 8.6. All right, here we go. So now let's do, let me see. Let's do 4.3 times 0.2. All right, again, first off, multiplication is exactly the same. All right, 2 times 3 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, put a 0 here and we'll go this other digit. 0 times 3 is 0, 0 times 4 is 0. All right, add just like you normally would. 6 and 0 is 6, 8 and 0 is 8, and then we're just gonna go ahead and bring that 0 down. You'll see why in a second. All right, now, how many spots are there after the decimal point? For this number, 4.3, there's 1. For this number, 0.2, there's 1. Now, add up how many times the decimal, how many spaces after the decimal for both numbers together? 1 and 1. So that's 2 total decimal point movements. So let's move this decimal point, okay? So that's gonna go 1, 2. 2 decimal point movements because there was 1 after this number and then 1 space after this number. So the answer is 0.86, okay? All right, finally, let's do a little bigger number just for the exercise, and you'll see that it's exactly the same. All right, so let's do 2.59 times 0.6. Now check this out. If you're watching this video, you've likely already done addition and subtraction with decimals. Addition and subtraction with decimals, you line up the decimal point. Multiplication, you don't have to worry about it. The decimal point is not really relevant until you get to the end. So you don't have to worry about lining up any decimals with multiplication. So let's do this problem. 6 times 9 is 54, carry the 5. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 5 is 35. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. All right, put a 0 there. 0 times 9 is 0, 0 times 5 is 0, 0 times 2 is 0. Add these up, we got 4, 5, 5, 1. How many decimal point movements are there? I mean, how many decimal point digit spaces after the decimal? I can't get it out. So you got 1, 2, so it's 2 here, and then 1 here. So that's a total of 3 spaces after the decimal. So that's what you want right here. All right, so this decimal point goes 1, 2, 3. All right, so the answer to this problem is 1.554. Okay, so again, remember, multiplication for decimals works exactly the same, but after you get your answer, you determine how many times, you determine where your decimal point is by counting the number of spaces after the decimal for each number being multiplied. Then use that to move your decimal to the right place. And again, you do not have to line up the decimals with multiplication with decimals. Okay. All right. Well, cool. I hope that helps you.